Welcome to Housing for Good, a podcast dedicated to housing topics and issues affecting our communities in McPherson County and beyond. With years of experience and expertise, hosts Chris Goodson and Karolyn Moore discuss housing challenges and opportunities with other experts from a variety of housing fields.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Housing for Good. I'm Karolyn.
And I'm Chris.
So, Chris, what news do you have for us today?
Well, I have a couple things. We have our next housing conference for 2025. That's going to be our 5th conference.
Yes.
That's pretty exciting, really, that we've been able to do that. That will be September 25th, 2025. So that's fun. And we will have a lot of great speakers again this year. We'll be giving some updates on what's going on with the housing across the county and maybe some things about we have our new housing study. So we should have more information about what we've been able to do with that study.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
I'm really excited about
so
that
that's
housing
exciting.
conference. Yeah, maybe we can get it. And if you have suggestions for people you'd like to hear at our conference, please let us know. Email, call, whatever. Just let us know.
Yeah.
Somebody that you want to hear from.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the second thing I have, and then I know you have some news too, is Brush Up Mac. So on an old podcast, I said it was April 26th, but Brush Up Mac is April 19th.
Yes. So the week before.
So in January, we will start getting out applications for homeowners and volunteers.
Yeah.
There.
So Joey and I have been working on getting the volunteer form and the homeowner form on the website so people can download it right there and fill it, print it off and fill it out. So
it's a fun day, so join us if you can.
Absolutely. And then I wanted you to know, 2 years ago, we had Lily Millwit with Housing, Not Handcuffs, National Homelessness Law Center.
Yes.
Come and talk to us about the criminalization of homelessness. And the mayor and different people in the community were completely surprised that this would be coming up. And then over the last year, we watched Johnson versus Grants Pass.
Right.
We saw how the Supreme Court said, oh, yeah, you can do that. And this week, I got to sit in on a national Zoom call with an attorney from the National Homelessness Law Center. And there were about 500 people across the nation that was on this Zoom call talking about the areas where this type of activity is being done and mobilizing to stop it. What do we do to stop it? So
yeah, that's really awesome that we're finally getting people to see the importance of why we need to stop homelessness, how we can help people get into housing.
Yeah,
it's so important, and so I'm really happy that that's going on. And something else you didn't mention about that is that we had somebody come to Topeka and talk to our legislators about trying to have that in Kansas.
Did. Yeah.
And so we were able to go up there with a group of other people and say, wait a minute, there are alternatives to this, and what can we do to work together to stop it? But criminalization is not the answer to this whole problem. But
that's exactly
anyway,
right.
So we have a guest today. Who is it?
We do. So we have Michelle Schnabel with the McPherson Animal Shelter. Michelle, do you want to introduce yourself and your organization?
Sure. Thank you for having me today. My name is Michelle Schnabel. I am the director of the McPherson Animal Shelter in McPherson, Kansas, and I have been working at the shelter since April of last year. Became the director in December of last year, so I'm still pretty new to this, but I have about 6 to 7 years of animal welfare experience, so I know quite a bit about it, and I'm very excited to be able to be here to talk about the shelter today.
So you shared a little bit before we started recording about a couple of other communities where you have also worked in a shelter. So where are those at?
My very first job actually was at the shelter in Lawrence, the Lawrence Humane Society. I started working there at 16 and worked there for 2 years and then had to move to Hutch to live with family. So I left at that point in time, and I applied for from about 2004 to 2018. No, 2000 and it was a couple of years before that. I was applying at the animal shelter in Hutchinson and finally got the job there, and I worked there for a couple of years as well.
Okay.
So she has lots of experience about working with animals, and that's really great. I'm excited that we have a new person who's in charge and really has a lot of experience and passion.
So I have a quick question. One thing that I find very unique for McPherson is we have separate agencies that care for cats or dogs. So the animal shelter, you guys only deal with dogs.
Correct.
Is that similar in Hutchinson and Lawrence? Did you find that, or did they have both?
No, those other shelters did both.
Okay.
They did both, and they did some small animals as well.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So each one is a little different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. How many dogs are you able to take care of at the shelter? Or you have a number that after a point you can say, hey, I can't take another dog? Or
Yes, we have 14 kennels, so we can take up to 14 dogs. And basically what we have right now and kind of the situation we've been dealing with is we're having to keep a certain number of kennels empty for stray animals because we are municipal. We have to be able to take strays at all times, but only from the city limits of McPherson. And then we also have like a sign-up sheet for people needing to surrender an animal, and we just have to go through that as we have space. So
Okay, so if somebody needs to, or they see a stray running around, do they call the police? Do they call you? Can they do either?
So normally they would call us and we would dispatch animal control. Right now we are currently hiring for animal control. So at this point in time, they'd need to call the non-emergency line for dispatch.
Okay.
so can somebody volunteer? Or if I wanted to go to the shelter and volunteer, is that something you allow? Or how does that work?
Yes, we do allow volunteers. We prefer that the only way that we can do under 16 years of age is if they're with a school group or something. Otherwise, our age starts at 16 and above, just for safety purposes.
Do you do background checks? Can anybody go in there? What does that look like?
Yep, so we have an application that you'd need to fill out, and we have that online on our website. We also have it in a paper form at the shelter, and we do a background check, and we just kind of make sure that we understand what the person's able to do for the shelter, like time-wise and everything. We try not to overlap our volunteers too much because we don't have as many animals as some shelters, so we don't have as many extra things to do constantly.
Okay, this could be fun. What type of stuff, if I'm a volunteer, do I get to do with these animals?
Sure. So you can come in and walk them. That's probably the biggest thing, is taking them for a walk. Being that we are a small staff, we don't get to do that. So they can go out. They go outside several times a day to go to the bathroom, but it's a little different than taking a walk.
For a walk.
And then as far as other things, we have had some people who have done some training with some of the dogs, worked on training. We also have people who help with cleaning, whether it's cleaning the kennels, mopping and sweeping and all of that. We've had people come that have, cleaned our crematorium and our garage. And we also have the opportunity, if people are interested in doing laundry, we have that. But another one that's really nice, if people don't want to actually do something with the dogs, but they want to do something for the dogs, is making enrichments for the dogs. So
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so another question I have is, do you accept donations, and what kind of items can people donate?
Absolutely. We do have a donation list. I don't think it's on our website, but if you come by the shelter, we can give you one. We mostly like having dog chews, soft treats, things like that. You can donate unopened dog food, and we put that in our stock for people who need help with getting food and things that maybe are having a rough time right now. So we have a food bank.
Do you have a wish list somewhere that someone can find if I wanted to donate food or anything that you needed for your the pets or animals?
Yes, we have one on our Facebook, and then we have the paper copy at the shelter.
So you do have something if I wanted to donate something. Because I know a lot of people are very passionate about animals. It seems like that would be a great way to
well, and
do
two things that Michelle has said is the word crematorium, so let's just put it out there. We do have a kill shelter in McPherson. What would make an animal be a candidate for that? Because I know you guys try to adopt them out.
Yes, so we are considered a kill shelter. However, our numbers are within the boundaries of a no-kill. So last year, I believe we were 94% live release rate, which is really, really good.
That's awesome.
Especially for a municipal shelter. we don't euthanize for space. For the most part, we haven't had that issue yet, so I'm really hoping we don't.
Yeah.
We have been really big on utilizing rescues and things like that to try to get the animals out. We use Facebook a lot as well.
Okay.
So if you are interested in an animal, definitely go check out our Facebook. We also go on Ad Astra Radio once a week to talk about an animal. But basically the reason why an animal might get euthanized would be if they are extremely aggressive, or for instance, a dog that may be friendly but maybe isn't friendly with everybody, that is kind of, you can't really know when they're going to lash out. That can be really dangerous for the community.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Or if an animal is extremely sick.
And then another thing that you mentioned is you have a food bank for animals. So one of my questions to you is, are you seeing animals being surrendered because people just literally cannot afford them anymore?
So, yes, I think that's been a lot of the issue. We have seen a lot of animals coming in since, post-COVID, whether it's been because they can't afford them anymore or it's because they're going back to work and they don't have enough time for them anymore. We've also had several people coming in just for moving because sometimes it's hard to find a place to rent that allows pets.
What about seniors? Are you seeing more seniors having to surrender? Because I know a lot of seniors in our community are really struggling right now with rent, and different things are going up and higher. And so sometimes they themselves don't have enough food or medicine. How does that work? Because I know pets are so important.
They're so important, but they can be so costly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. If cared for properly. So
have you seen that at all? Is there any age particularly? Are you seeing patterns with age or,
Sure. So surprisingly, the majority of the surrenders we're getting have come from younger people between the ages of 18 and 30.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. And we actually haven't had a ton of surrenders for people who are elderly. Mm-hmm. Most of them are either that kind of younger age range, or if an animal's owner has passed away and family can't take it, sometimes we get those as well.
Okay. But I think I understood you that if somebody is struggling and maybe they need some help this month with their dog food, they could talk to you guys and you have a source for them where they could get some help that way.
So here's a positive one. If I want a dog from the shelter, what do I have to do?
So if you want to adopt a dog from the shelter, you can view our animals online on petfinder.com, adoptapet.com, and on our Facebook. And then you would want to come in and see the animals in person. We always like to make sure that we're matching the right animal to the right person based on, how they interact.
How much does it cost? What's the cost associated with that?
So we actually just changed our fees because we just started being able to spay and neuter before they went home. So it starts out at $200 for a puppy that's not spayed and neutered, and then it goes down from there. So there's a category for puppies, a category for adults, and a category for seniors.
Okay, so I have 2 dogs, and let's just say one of them passes away, and I don't want the one who's always had a sibling to be by themselves. Mm-hmm. Would you recommend bringing the dog I currently have to the shelter to meet the new one? How do you recommend somebody do that if they're thinking about bringing another dog into their home?
Sure, yeah. We actually require it at our shelter because we've seen too many instances where somebody takes an animal home and they fight, and then they have to bring it back. Okay. So we do require it now. So if you do have another animal at home, we do require you bring it in, whether we prefer that you don't bring it in first meeting, just because we want you to be able to connect with the animal. But then once you decide that this is the one you want, you've put it in an application, we definitely want you to bring in your dog. And if you are not comfortable handling your dog, meeting the new dog, we can definitely help with that, but we do have a way that we do it so that they hopefully get along a little easier.
Okay.
Yeah. Very cool. Wow. So how many dogs do you have up for adoption right now?
Right now we have, let me think here. I think we have 6.
Okay.
Not all of them are on our Facebook yet. We just got 5 yesterday.
Oh my word.
From a different shelter who had no space. So we are working on getting them put up for adoption. We just put up 2 today that are brothers, Bodie and Baloo, and they are a bonded pair, so they do have to be adopted together. which we don't see super frequently, but it does happen sometimes. But they are little guys. They are Jack Russell Terriers, so they're little.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, do you ever have people that go in and say, okay, I'm just going to throw it out there, I want a St. Bernard? I'll wait till you have one. Do you ever have people that request
hundreds of
breed?
people probably want St. Bernards. I know that's probably the number one dog.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's go for a hard breed to possibly come by.
Yeah. Have you seen...
So if somebody came in and they were looking for a specific type of dog, can they put in a request and you kind of keep an eye out for them? Or
So we generally do not keep a request list just because we do have a very small staff.
Okay.
But we do tell people to make sure that they are checking online. If somebody does not have the internet or can't check online, we ask them just to call every couple of weeks to see what we have. But yeah, we don't keep requests just because it's a lot to maintain with everything else. So
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. And what about microchipping? Do you offer that service?
we do actually. So we offer microchipping to the public for $15. We are cash and check only right now, so just keep that in mind. But it actually is, I feel like it's a very fair price. We make sure it's registered before you leave, and registration and upkeep on your chip is always free. We've changed our policy to require microchipping for every animal that comes into the shelter. You just get charged $5 for that, and that really helps us with being able to get animals back to their homes.
Okay, that is so much cheaper
That is so
than
cheap.
I ever thought it would be.
I thought it used to, I think I've paid more than that for my dogs.
Yeah.
I think it was
to
more
be able to
than
get your
$15.
animal back and
Yes.
to know that I can have it done right here in my own hometown and it's affordable, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
now
really
I have
great.
another question. Cremation services. So we mentioned the crematorium if we have an animal that we have to put down. But what if my animal is really, really sick or it's time, or I don't have a spot in my yard where I can bury their body? What services can you give me along those lines?
Sure. So we don't do euthanasia in-house at the shelter, so we can't offer that, unfortunately. I do know that Hutchinson does for a low price. But we do offer cremation services. We can do up to 300 pounds. So we actually did a mini donkey once. That was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But we just changed our prices this last year. Originally, it was just a straight price for every size of animal. But we decided that really wasn't fair for the people who had, a small animal like a cat.
Chihuahua or something,
yeah, to pay the same amount as somebody with a 300-pound animal.
Or a donkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it starts at 100 and goes up to 200 based on weight.
That's still reasonable. They actually did that with my son's dog. It got hit in the road.
Yeah.
And we took the dog. They actually took the dog, and then we asked for it to be cremated, and then they put it in this nice little box.
Yep.
So
So
you
that
can
was
have
awesome.
the ashes
Yes.
just like your
Yes.
family member that gets cremated and you
Yes.
get an urn and you can bury it, but you can have the ashes of your pet in a little box of some
Yes.
sort.
Yes.
And you can keep that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love that
Or bury it or
idea.
spread it or whatever you
Yeah.
want to do with that animal. So, yeah, it's a great way to say goodbye. Having those ashes and being in
Yeah.
our family we have little ceremonies whenever an animal dies.
yeah.
It's like a little funeral. So
Yeah.
but they did a great job for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love these podcasts because every time we talk to somebody, I learn something new.
I know.
So cool.
I know. This has been a really fun one. So what else? What are we missing? What haven't we asked you yet? Is there anything else you can think of that we haven't asked as far as, we've talked about donations and different animals and
Volunteers,
the
yeah.
volunteers, and what are we missing? What haven't we talked to you about that you think's really important for the community? I would encourage everybody, if you need a pet, go to a shelter. That's where we get all of our animals. We always
Yes.
do rescues at our house. It's very rewarding, and it's great to see that animal come out of their shell after they've come home, and they know this is their home, and this is where they get to be. It makes me almost want to cry because, like I said, that's all we've done for many years is all of our animals come from a rescue of some sort at our house.
Yeah, so we did just recently do a very large remodel on the shelter. So we will be having an open house at some point within the next probably month. I don't have an
Okay.
exact date for that yet, but that's definitely something to keep an eye out for because we will be announcing it on Ad Astra as well as on our Facebook.
Okay,
Awesome.
that's cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
us today. I
thank you
really
for having me.
appreciate it. One thing that Chris and I always focus on is housing. And the more and more phone calls we get of people needing help, probably half of them, they have pets of their own. So I did not realize that you guys had a food bank where they could get access to food for their animals. So that's extremely rewarding for me to find out. And just know that if you are lonely or you feel like you would like a pet, these would be the perfect people
place
to talk to.
Yes.
They can guide you along that path and help you get the right animal. Then if you're struggling with maybe your pet, this would be another resource to reach out to and have a conversation about what's going on.
Food or anything else that you might need for your pet. Yeah, it's great. I just think this has been a great interview. Thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, well, you can leave us a review or make a comment or give us topics of what to talk about or who to talk with at housingforgood@mcphersonhc.org. See you next time.